Deep within a lush, green forest ecosystem, the hierarchy is clear. At the top sits Sheru, an apex predator whose presence commands absolute silence. In this environment, sheer muscular power dictates the law. When Sheru walks through the trees, other animals instinctively shrink back into the brush and hide. We can define this baseline model of power as authoritarianism. The system relies entirely on intimidation. Compliance is extracted through the constant threat of physical dominance. But Sheru possesses a rare trait for an apex predator: self-awareness. An internal monologue constantly gnaws at him. He wonders if his position makes him a true king, or if he is simply a strong brute enforcing compliance. He is brushing up against a critical distinction. Cold obedience, offered only to avoid violence, is fragile. Genuine loyalty, given freely by followers, requires something entirely different. The authoritarian hierarchy, order is maintained by constant, heavy downward pressure from the top. For a true leader to emerge, that dynamic must invert. The downward force must transform into a foundational pillar, actively supporting the layers above it. Without that foundational support, a kingdom held together exclusively by fear is a hollow ecosystem, and it is uniquely vulnerable to collapsing the exact moment a true crisis strikes. The crisis arrives with a violent rainstorm. The river swells rapidly, turning into a churning flood that throws the environment into chaos. The rising waters create an immediate, life-threatening emergency. A small deer is caught off guard, suddenly trapped by the rapidly rushing current. On the shore, the rest of the forest animals watch. Their baseline survival instincts take over, keeping them safely away from the dangerous riverbank. They remain completely paralyzed. In a culture where only one voice is allowed to lead, the crowd is left directionless. Without an authoritarian figure explicitly dictating their every move, the individual animals have no experience in taking initiative or working together to help one of their own. When the goal of every day is simply to avoid notice and escape punishment, a community loses its ability to react when a situation requires proactive, selfless action. Then, Sheru arrives at the riverbank. The apex predator inserts himself directly into the center of the unfolding disaster. He realizes that true kingship isn't a license to rule over others. It is a commitment to look after them. His power is only valuable if it serves those who lack it. Instead of using his immense muscle mass to intimidate the herd, he finds a new, purposeful application for it. He will use his physical advantage to shield the vulnerable. Without hesitation, the lion wades deep into the rushing water, forcing his way against the violent river current to reach the stranded animal. He secures the deer and pulls it safely back to the shore. From the trees, a spontaneous, unprompted eruption of joyous cheers breaks out among the watching animals. This vocalization is driven by genuine admiration. It marks the exact moment authority is earned rather than demanded. Courageous action in the service of others dictates true leadership. When the storm passes and the waters recede, the structure of the forest community has completely transformed. The small deer gives voice to this new reality, acknowledging Sheru explicitly as a true, kind king. The lion's strength remains, but it is now paired with visible compassion. The social dynamic permanently shifts. The animals transition from subjects who hide from their ruler into a community that actively loves and respects him. The psychology here is stark. Fear demands physical and emotional distance to maintain safety. Respect creates proximity, naturally binding a group together. These two network graphs illustrate the difference. On the left, a central figure ruling by fear pushes everything to the margins. On the right, respect allows the central figure to act as a gravitational hub, drawing the entire community into a tight, connected unit. We see the exact same mechanics in a corporate boardroom, a school classroom, or a family home. Empathy and kindness yield a heavier, more lasting influence than brute force ever could. Leadership is never a title to be claimed or an inherent right. It is an ongoing, compassionate responsibility to the people who rely on you.